Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you are a regular around here. If you're new, I'm Lucy and I am a mum of 4 and I share all sorts of kind of day in the life, day out, chatty type videos, and today I'm going to be doing a video all about feeding a big family. So as I said at the beginning, we have 4 children, and one of the things that people kind of comment on quite a lot, or not necessarily comment on, but I have a lot of questions about, is about kind of the costs. I think a thing that puts a lot of people maybe off having a larger family is that they feel like it's going to cost them quite a lot. I always feel like babies, children in general, cost as much as you want them to cost and as much as you're willing to let them cost. So I don't feel like our babies are particularly expensive, but food bills can get quite pricey, and since we have been weaning Wylder and he is on solid food too, we are definitely noticing that we're getting through food a lot faster. So I thought I would put a little video together with just some little tips about things that we do to kind of make feeding a larger family as seamless and maybe slightly cheap as we possibly can. That didn't really make any sense, did it? To make it as seamless as possible and as cheap as we possibly can. Does that make more sense? I think that makes more sense. Tip number 1 is that we try to get the kids as involved in decisions to do with food as possible. Now, so I'll go on to some of the other tips in a minute. So things to do with how we plan our meals and that sort of thing, we try and get the kids involved with, but we also try and get them involved in cooking wherever possible. In this house, Rich is chief chef, really. He tends to kind of get involved in kind of the stuff that we kind of really make properly from scratch. If he is cooking stuff from scratch, he tries as much as possible to get the children involved, whether it's with weighing stuff and measuring stuff, whether it's adding stuff to the pan, chopping bits and pieces up, stirring, testing, all that sort of thing, so that they feel like they are really involved in the food process. We find that they're definitely more inclined to try new things. So if we're trying a new recipe, we'll try and get the kids involved in cooking it, so they're more likely to try it. If that is your kind of thing and you're interested in that, Channel Mum have just done a new series, I think it's a continuing series actually, of videos for things that you can cook with your kids, or if your kids are a little bit bigger, things that your kids could actually make. There was like a 1-pot spaghetti dish where the spaghetti went in uncooked, which looked really great and is definitely on my list to try for a busy weekday. There's some breakfast muffins, there's all sorts of other stuff. So I'll pop the link here for you to have a look at, and it will be in the description box so that you can check that out if you're interested in that. So yeah, definitely if you can get children involved in cooking, I definitely feel like they're more inclined to eat what you put in front of them, which is sometimes just all you can really hope for, isn't it really? My second tip is that we do a lot of batch cooking. At weekends, what will often happen is we will either, well, sometimes both, we will make something and we will over make it so that we've got enough to put a batch load in the freezer or to keep a batch load in the fridge to eat later in the week. So we tend to batch cook with things like curries, chilies, casserole type dishes, stuff that is really easy to store. And it might be that we have it with a jacket potato on a weekend, then we have it with rice in the week, or whatever. It's just ways of kind of making the food go further. And what often happens is that we will have one thing that we're cooking maybe on a Sunday that we're going to eat, and then what often happens on a Sunday evening once the kids have gone to bed is we will batch cook something else so that we have got another freshly prepared meal ready to batch out for during the week. Which brings me on to my third point, which is the slow cooker, which is our friend. We tend to use that if we're making kind of a second batch of something to kind of support what we're already having over weekend. So again, I actually find a lot of food that we eat is nicer when it's been slow cooked, particularly chili and bolognese tend to be a lot nicer if they've gone in the slow cooker. So definitely the slow cooker is your friend. Number 4 is meal planning. Now this is another thing that in this house happens on a Sunday, kind of alongside the batch cooking. So Rich and I will sit down with my kind of calendar and planner, Rich's work diary. We'll work out when he's going to be home earlier, when he's going to be home later, what kind of clubs and stuff we've got going on during the week, what we've got time for, and we will basically plan out what we're going to eat over the week. So it might be, you know, things like, okay, on Monday we have clubs, so we'll have something quick, so we'll have pasta. But then in contrast, we often know that Rich sometimes works from home a couple of days a week, so the days when he's at home we might have something that takes a little bit more preparation because there's 2 of us around, so it makes it a little bit easier. And we will plan out what we need to eat so that we know what we've got batch cooked, what we need to batch cook, what we need to cook from fresh, and all that jazz. As an aside to that, I stick our meal planner in our diary, and then we also have a copy up on the kitchen wall, but the copies that I keep in the diary I actually keep week on week. So I find that if I feel like we're getting stuck in a meal rut, I can go back to previous weeks and we can try some new things and that sort of thing. So it is definitely something that's worth keeping an eye on, because we do get stuck in a bit of a meal rut sometimes of just eating the same things on the same days. And it's nice to change it up a little bit. And my final thing, alongside those sort of other things that help with kind of keeping meal times ticking over and keeping things cost effective, is that we try wherever possible to shop around. So we buy most of our fresh meat from a butcher, because we have a local butcher near us where we basically buy stuff in bulk, and we have a freezer in our garage and we store loads of extra meat in our garage because it definitely works out a lot cheaper to buy from the butcher and to buy lots of it. Plus it's much nicer. We tend to do like a main shop from either Tesco's or Sainsbury's just because they're what's local to us, but we also have a Lidl, and what tends to happen is we do the main shop at a weekend, but during the week I then pop to Lidl and do like a top-up shop, and we have specific stuff like milk and bread that we buy from Lidl that are cheaper and they're kind of basics. Wherever possible we do try to shop around and make sure that we're getting the best deal for the basics that we buy. So that was just a quick one from me. I hope that this was helpful. This is kind of a bit of a sort of change for me. I don't tend to sort of talk about domestic stuff on this channel, so if this is something that's interesting and you'd like to see more of how we manage this sort of thing, do let me know. If you want to see, I don't know, what our meal plans are or recipes for things that we do. Please don't say recipes, because I'm going to have to ask Rich to do those, because cooking is not my thing. But yeah, if you want to know sort of more about how we manage those sorts of things, please do let me know in the comments and I will see what I can do. Other than that, all that's left to say is thank you for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all again for another video very soon. Bye everyone.